Decal Machine to Substance Painter uses OpenCV as a dependency, therefore we have to install it. One of the easiest way is to navigate to your Python folder, whatever it is. I'm using the portable distribution of Blender in my case, so I will just go here, type cmd and start a command prompt, after which I can just type in Python -m pip install opencv -python, which will grab the most actual wheel from the pypy.org. There are some other ways to do it, and I will post some links in the description of this video for Linux and Mac OS. After the installation was finished, we can close the command prompt, start Blender, and install the zip file provided in the usual way. By me, it's already installed. I will just have to enable it. So I will just enable it here. And now everything should work out of the box. See you in the next minutes. Let's say that we want to decorate this piece of machinery. We want to texture it into a Substance Painter, and we want to use some decals that maybe we did or maybe we bought, like a library and such. And let's see what exactly the problem is. So the problem is that, for instance, in the case of the ambient occlusion, curvature, and height map, these three separate images are encoded in the RGB channels of this composite image here. We could separate them by hand and save them and import them in Substance Painter, but this is a very tedious process. And the same can be said about the mask, which is basically the alpha of this decal. In this case, it would be simpler because there are only two colors, but by composite decals, we would have to deal with three colors. The only texture that we could probably use out of the box is the normal map, but this is also not unproblematic and should be manually fixed. Let's see exactly what the problem is. I will just import this normal map as a texture, and I will import it in the current session because you will see it. I cannot use it. It's unusable for now. So let's import it here. And I will create for this particular texture set here, I will create a paint layer. And in the normal map, so I will just control normals here. In the normal map of this texture set, I will put my normal there, right? And now we could basically start painting here. And this is exactly the problem that I was talking about. Substance is not capable of interpreting non-square textures out of the box. So it squarifies them, but it squarifies them by stretching them to the nearest square proportion. And the proportion of this normal map should not be square. In order to solve this, we can use the features of Decal Machine to Substance Painter. See you in a couple of minutes in describing how to do precisely that. Now that we saw the problems, let's see how we can correct them. Let's find the solution and let's see how Decal Machine to Substance Painter add-on can do the heavy lifting for us. I will just change the image to the viewport to an image editor, and let's expand the end panel and find there the Decal Machine to Substance Painter interface. It uses its own file browser, so what I will do is to copy the link of the decal that I was generating and open it in here. So obviously we have here the images that I was talking about. Let's open them, and boom, everything is actually already done. As you see, the normal was squarified, but not by stretching, but by filling it with the proper values and everything else as well. Now, in this height map, there is not a lot of contrast. In this particular case, this is why it looks a little bit whitish, but the information is there. We also have the curvature, the ambient occlusion, again, not with much information because the decal is quite shallow. And we also have the alpha with the correct proportions. Now, Substance Painter has a very bad habit of interpreting all of the normal maps, let's say, imported as being DirectX. And I could rant for a couple of minutes why that is and why that is a bad idea. For this case, my add-on gives you the possibility to flick them all on save in order to have the correct orientation in Substance Painter. Now let's just choose a folder where to put the images that we just generated right now. It exports 001 and accept this as the destination and save all the files. The flipping took place and now all the images are there ready to be imported in Substance Painter. Let me just start. So we can just drag and drop them like we did in the previous segment. Alpha obviously will be an alpha and everything else will be a texture. Right now I can import this directly to the project. And let's select the correct texture set that I want to decorate. In this case is this orange material, and I will create a paint layer for it, right? And now let's replace the alpha with a newly generated one and assign all the slots that I'm using, in which case I'm using the color. I will put ambient occlusion in the color, in the base color. The height will go to the height and the normal map will go to the normal map. Let's just be sure that this paint layer is on multiply, so we are multiplying this ambient occlusion over whatever we have underneath. And right now everything should work out of the box. Let's change a little bit the illumination to see it better, and boom, we are ready to use the decals as they are. And not only that, but as you see, every single one of them, I mean, this badge basically got a unique suffix and a unique identifier. This is to solve the second problem that we saw in the previous segment, which is the repeating names, which in turn would override the previous batches. It's very easy using just this to reselect a batch that we generated, right? So if I'm coming here and I'm doing, you know, some other stuff, but at some point I want to reuse this collection, I could just, you know, retake the prefix, the suffix, and then boom, everything will be in place, selected. Obviously, we could come here and create a brush preset out of this decal for later use. We can call it with the same prefix that we used, right? And maybe a sci-fi or whatever it is. And then we have the brush there. Now, this is very convenient. It's a workflow that works for a single decal. But let's presume that we have like a big collection of decals. Let me just close this one. And here are the examples that are shipped with the Decal Machine add-on, right? And we want to do the same for all of them. If I would have to use this method, obviously it would work, but it's not very convenient because it's quite tedious. In order to solve this, Decal Machine to Substance Painter also has a batch algorithm that works with whole collections. So if I'm coming here and choose the examples, I will take the examples here as a as the collection that I am going to convert. Except that, let's choose also a destination, and I will make another folder, and let's call it batch exports. I will accept this. We can use like a custom prefix if we want. So let's call this sci-fi. And let's batch process all of those images there. Now, this is independent of whatever is loaded here. It only works by reading basically that source folder. So let's batch process it. And as you see, the converted decals are starting to appear, every single one of them with a unique identifier in their own folders. So if we are coming here to check what was going on, we have all the maps separated, everything squarified, and everything as it should be, ready to be imported. Let's take this one as an example and bring it in Substance Painter again. So as you see here, we also used that custom sci-fi prefix in order to know what they are. So let's choose everything. They are textures except for this mask, which is an alpha. Let's import them to the current project. And boom, they are there. We just have to replace the inputs. I will again use the ambient occlusion to be multiplied over, and we should replace the alpha as well. Let me just undo the previous ones, and now basically we are ready to paint with the newly created decal. So very easy. It just took a couple of clicks and a couple of seconds to convert the whole batch that we had there. Let's take another example. Maybe let's take this one. Yeah, why not? We could save this guy here also as a custom brush to have it, so we don't have to repeat this process every single time. But for now, let's just go with it like it is. This one should be an alpha. Oops, sorry. So texture, and only that one should be an alpha. Let's import them to the current project. They're there. Replace the mask. Replace the ambient occlusion. Replace the height. And replace the normal. And the newly created one, it's already there to be used. Now, if those decals would have an emission, we should also turn on the emission, and basically this black image here should have some kind of color, emissive color onto it. But in this case, there is none. So thank you for watching, and please check my product on Blender Market. I will include the link in the description of this video. See you next time. Take care. Happy blending.